If you are excited for the rapidly approaching 2025 NFL Draft, make sure you like the video. We got some great stuff planned for you here, as always, with our live coverage at Chat Sports. Have some fun. Hit that like button if you are excited. From Tony, which free agency player could the Chiefs go out and still get, / who's the best available player for KC? It's a good question. I think the majority of their needs don't necessarily align that great with some of the top players. They did kind of address offensive line, with the Jalen Moore signing. I wouldn't be opposed to more just like big guys on the middle, like adding another defensive tackle. Obviously, you brought back Mike Pennell, you signed Jerry Tillery, but that probably just going to be a draft status. If you want to, Asante Samuel's good, like that wouldn't be bad. Maybe he's got upside. Plus, you pair him with Christian Fulton again. It's kind of funny. Receiver? In case you're worried about Rashee Rice suspension or Hollywood Brown injuries or Xavier Worthy not developing the way you want him to, which I think he will. Amari Cooper would be a good fit. He just gets open. Those are, I think, some of the better free agents as well, too. Adam Dent. What do you think the Panthers' main target should be in the draft / could you do needs and players? Sure. I think the head coach said defense is going to be the first priority at the owners' meetings. Hopefully didn't get got on April Fool's Day. Defensively, they're a bunch of linchpin pieces, right? You have Derek Brown. You sign Bobby Brown. You sign Tashawn Wharton. You're probably okay on that interior of the defensive line. It's the edges, right? Excuse me. Jadeveon Clowney is an older player. DJ Wanda and Patrick Jones. Linebacker, it's Trevin Wallace and Josie Jewell. I think Jalen Walker is a pretty fun fit for Carolina. If I'm the Panthers, I think, who are my true top-end game changers? Not starters, but game changers on defense. Derek Brown. Hopefully Trayvon Merrick. J.C. Horn. I don't have anyone at that linebacker / edge spot I think are true changers. Guys can play, yes. I think you could build your defense around Jalen Walker. I think that could be a really good fit. I think edge in general makes sense, whether it's Mike Green, Michael Williams, and then receiver. I think they are very excited about Xavier Legette, but you could consider Tetairoa McMillan. But I am going to kind of borderline continuously mock edge to Carolina at 8. Santiago, is the Brandon Aiyuk trade rumor over? I think it's dead. That unofficial deadline with the roster bonuses or the option bonuses passed, it's been paid out. I don't think the Niners are going to give him away for nothing. I know they've spent less money, but I don't think they're totally rebuilding. So bailing on Aiyuk, what I think would have required a pretty big offer. That offer did not come. I think a team would have given up a 5th-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk and paid him the money he's owed. That's not a bad contract at all. I just don't think there were any of the level of offers that were worthwhile. So we can expand it to the deadline, I guess. Between now and the NFL trade deadline, will the Niners move on from Brandon Aiyuk? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Songs of C2. What if the Raiders trade back into the end of the first round and pick T-Mac after the picking Jeanty at 6? I think you'd have to see McMillan fall a pretty good distance there. Now, I think there is a chance if he doesn't go 12 to Dallas, if he gets past that top 12, there could be a slide into the early 20s because there's not that many teams that I think are desperate for a wide receiver right now. So maybe there is a slide. I think the Raiders with no 3rd-round pick, though, trading it as part of or at least their 3rd-round pick with the Geno Smith trade, he got extra ammunition, Devontae Adams, I know, but I would have doubts they'd be willing to move up for him. Now, if he fell and they have a 1st-round grade, possible, but I don't think he's going to fall into the range where it makes sense for Vegas. But it is a fun idea. Make no mistake about it. DC times Viper, or X-Viper. The Steelers look to Atlanta about Kirk Cousins. If the Rodgers drama drags on too long, how long are they really willing to wait? I mean, that's a fallback option. I don't know if they want to pay Kirk Cousins $27.5 million, but they have it earmarked for Rodgers to an extent, so it's doable. You can always just restructure it and save money short term. I think that's a viable fallback option. I just think that they want Rodgers real bad. I think Rodgers is better right now than Kirk Cousins, even though he's aging. Doesn't have much left in the tank. I think they'll wait till at least the draft. I think Cousins is going to wait till after the draft anyway, so they don't have to make a decision on the Cousins side for now, because Cousins doesn't want to get traded somewhere and then have someone spend a first-round pick on him again. Wolfpack. Carolina should sign Isaiah Simmons. Man, that was a big miss for me. I thought he was going to be really good. Someone will give him a chance. He's just, I think that those early years in Arizona, I think that they failed him. I think they didn't have a plan to utilize him, and it ended up not working out for them. But there was a point I thought he was going to be a Panther, and I got the Derek Brown mock draft pick wrong. I had Simmons going there. So it'd be funny if they ended up getting both in the end. The NFL draft hats are available for all 32 NFL teams, plus some of them have the pins, by the way, the America's Team pin or other pins for specific teams. Get your hat today at chatsports.com/2025draft. All 32 teams are available, kind of the cream top and the black versions as well. Also, a not as dark black is available. All the teams, different styles, fits, etc. Also, hoodies are available. chatsports.com/2025NFL draft. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Bryce Blackwell. How many trades will happen, I think he means at the draft? I treat this as like round one trades. I think a lot. Like, I think there's going to be, especially in the back end of round one, like I think you might see a lot of movement. I think teams like Pittsburgh, who's light on draft capital, could be a trade down candidate. The Vikings are an obvious trade down candidate. Houston could be a trade up candidate if someone falls. The Rams would love to trade down, get some more draft capital. The Commanders light on draft capital. The Chiefs and Eagles never afraid to wheel and deal. I could very well see, no real trade movement in the first 7, 8 picks, something like that. And then the last 8 picks, you get a flurry of deals where there's a weird draft overall that's going to lead to some weird picks in general, and maybe some teams having one of their last top 15 guys on the board at pick 27 and saying, let's go get our guy. So how many trades do you think end up happening in round one? Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Colin Dingman. Will the Steelers pay TJ Watt? Yes. That's going to get done. The Lions will pay Aiden Hutchinson. The Cowboys will end up paying Micah Parsons. One of them will carry a lot more drama than the other two. We all know which one that is. But, yeah, they'll get that deal done. Matthew Gillum. I don't think the Giants signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston this offseason stops them from drafting Shedeur Sanders at 3. I don't think it stops them if they love Shedeur. I don't know if they love Shedeur. So, that's because this means that if they don't get him, they're not screwed. But I don't know what their real plans are. One hand, I think that they could get Travis Hunter, and that'd be really intriguing for them. But they also don't have a long-term quarterback. And, do Wilson and Winston actually save the jobs of Brian Daboll and Joe Shane? Is this a Kirk Cousins-esque type of move? Is this, we have 3 QBs we can play. Maybe one of them will show enough promise. We can keep our jobs for one more year. Because that team is not good enough to win anything with Wilson or Winston. Could they go maybe move up for Shedeur if he slides or a different QB? There's a lot of paths for the Giants that I don't have a great feel for how it all plays out in the end. So do you enjoy our NFL mailbags? If you do, sweet. Happy to have you. Hit that sub button right now. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. DC Times Viper. Could the Browns do a draft similar to how the Texans drafted in 2023? Take Travis Hunter at 2 and then trade back up into the first for Shedeur Sanders. That is possible. I would go with a more likely outcome of they probably take Abdul Carter as opposed to Travis Hunter, but potato to an extent there. The tricky part there is when the Texans did that, they went 2 and 3. I don't think you can get to 3 because that year the Texans also had a top 12 pick. They had picked 12, so it was more feasible. Now, if Shedeur slides to 23, you can jump up then. That's very doable. And that might be in the cards for Cleveland. Wolfpack. Should the Cowboys sign Caleb Farley or Stephon Gilmore? Gilmore would be more appealing. the Cowboys are at the point, and some teams are too. They don't need a flyer. They have flyers on guys like here, Elam out already. They need more of an instant impact guy. I think Stephon Gilmore would very much fit that mold more than other options there. Our old friend Jack has made an appearance. Will Mark Andrews end up being traded? John Harbaugh kind of said no. I don't know if that's just coach speak or realistic, but I think if he does get dealt, day 3 of the draft is where it starts to make some sense. Of maybe a team doesn't get the tight end they want, and they end up making a trade instead. So speaking of trades, name a player who you think gets dealt between now and we'll see the end of the NFL draft. Let me know in the comments section of today's show a player you think ends up getting traded. Adam Dent, who are your surprise candidates to jump into the first round and one to drop out of the first round? I don't know if like a James Pierce or a Luther Burden counts in that category because we've seen them like get mentioned as guys that might not go in round 1. I think those guys kind of stand out to me. I think someone like Josh Simmons, who's been pretty consistently mocked in round 1, if the medical comes back bad, or if there have been some questions on character concerns on that front that have been mentioned by guys like, I think it was Todd McShay or maybe it was Bob McGinn and his scouts there. Mecca Ibuka could slide into round 1. That wouldn't be overly shocking. Round 1 surprise candidates. Insert your third back, whether that's Judkins or Henderson or Caleb Johnson. I think Trey Amos doesn't get mocked much in round 1. I think that's an option at corner. If the medicals check out for Siobhan Ravel, Benjamin Morrison, those guys could go in round 1. I've seen some love for Darius Alexander. The UCLA edge, I'm going to botch his name. I don't want to be a dick. I'll have to get the pronunciation here. Olu Afedi, that's wrong, but I'll get the proper pronunciation here. That is a guy that I think could have like some actual surprise round 1 buzz. Like maybe haven't seen much love for Josh Connerly, the Oregon tackle, as of late. I think that maybe could be a fit. Something weird like Carson Schlesinger jumps into the back end of round 1. Looking at my notes here. That's my guy. He's not going to go in round 1. I'll say that take for another day. I think those are the main ones to kind of keep an eye out for. Olu Oladejo, who also goes by Femi. That's the UCLA edge. He was like first year playing edge. I think that's a good dark horse name. MA football guy. Do you think the Raiders trade up with the Patriots if Shedeur falls to 4? I don't think so. Because I don't know who's going to – I think the Patriots, if Shedeur falls to 4, the Patriots probably are just like, okay, we're going to take Will Campbell. And they don't want to risk the Jags taking Will Campbell. So Patriots probably stay pat. Jags and Patriots are not taking a QB. So if the Raiders want Shedeur and he falls past 3, I think they can just stay and pick. Unless a team actually wants to move up to snipe them, which I don't think ends up happening.